first pick, New York Islanders. I'm not going to overthink it. They are picking James Haggis now. They're picking Matthew Schaefer first overall. And as of right now, that sounds like the only pick that's locked in because I was listening to the prospect series on the Athletic, and it sounds like the Sharks aren't even like convinced that Michael Misa is going to be the pick. So we talked about, might this draft be 2019 where the first two picks are decided, or this draft class might be 2022 where we have no idea what's going to happen at first overall? Or is this draft class like last year where first overall is decided, but then the rest of the way we don't know. I don't know. But I do know Matthew Schaefer is going first overall to the New York Islanders. And it sounds like they might try to get back into the top 10 and pick James Haggins.
God, I hope number 2 is up in the air. That would make my whole year. Oh my God, if Misa falls into our lap at 3.
If they get Michael Misa,
Scott Powers has already said they're going to throw the draft board out if Misa falls at 3. Just sprint to the mic.
Scott Powers said they're going to put him in the NHL, or at least give him a chance in the NHL.
Awesome. I mean, if they want to go young, like they're saying, yeah, throw him in there. Why not? Put him with Bedard or Nazar, or you just run 3 centers the whole year, and it's just nasty as hell. Put him at 3C and put Donato with him or something. I don't know, but I'd glue him to Bedard regardless. But I'm going to pick Misa second. I think they're not going to overthink this. Now, if they are going to overthink it, I do think this is either Martone or Frondell.
Yes.
I don't think it's Denoye.
Apparently they like Denoye too, but
I just can't see Denoye going 2. I really can't. I could see him going 3, but I think the Hawks are really in on Frondell right now, if I had to guess. But I think Misa
I think they're going to go Frondell. I don't know fully, but if I had to guess, I think it's Frondell.
Which is what I've been okay with since day one. Like, you can watch the live stream. That's immediately who I wanted with pick 3. But I think Misa just brings such an element to this team. Another high-end scoring talent. Like, your 4 best scoring forwards at that point would be Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, and Misa. And then you have, scattered in like a Quinn Musty and stuff. Like, they're just going to be ridiculously deep in a couple of years. And, they probably really like Matthew Schaefer to fall 2.
Not happening unless
make their defense immensely good. If you have that and Dickinson on the left side going forward, that'd be fun. But I think you got your best player available, unless you're just so sold on someone. And I know they've seen a lot of Misa because I think Cherishnoff or whatever his name is he plays on the same team. So he's been right in their backyard this whole time. They have a lot of intel on him. I wouldn't overthink it. I take Misa too. But feel free to not come next Friday, please. Or Thursday, whenever the draft is. I don't even know when the draft is. Oy.
Yeah, it's next Friday. Same with the anyways. Yeah. But do you think a trade into the top 2 happens for the Blackhawks? I think
the price is too high. I think the price is too high. From what I heard, the Islanders want next year's first, and I'm not giving that. No chance.
Maybe if it was Florida's next year's first, but
with the way the beat writers talk about the Hawks, you need to keep that Gavin McKenna pick. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think they can get to the top 15, even top 10 again. Like, I think they can package whatever, like their 20.
Boston's lurking. Boston wants on ice talent, though. We don't have that.
No.
Yeah, there's a couple teams where they might be able to bounce back in, but we'll see. I'd like for them to. I'd love for them to get like a Carter Bear or Roger McQueen or something, or Victor Eklund.
Oh, that's my dream. Frondell and Eklund, if they can get both. And speaking of which, the next pick, like, I'm going based off of who I would pick. I think the Blackhawks, I do think they're going to pick Anton Frondell. Like I mentioned this last podcast, I feel like Frondell has a little bit of everything that a Porter Martone has, Caleb Denoye, and I would even say James Haggins. Like, he seems like so versatile. Like, he has a little bit of everything that they have. I do want Porter Martone. Like, he just feels like the perfect guy to glue to Bedard's hip. But the same might be for Frondell as well. Like, maybe you glue him to Bedard's hip, or maybe you decide to go Barkov and Reinhardt and you put Bedard to the wing. Or maybe you put him with Frank Nazar's playmaking and you let Frondell's shot really shine. Get him a lot of goals either way. I think he brings a lot of versatility, and I think like there's a lot to work with there. Like, he's still very raw. I think if they do draft him, they're going to bring him over to Rockford and work on him. And I don't think it's out of the question by the end of the year we could see him play a few games. if that's the case.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'd really like for it to be Frondell or Martone or Higgins. It's literally anyone but Denoye. If it's Denoye, it's a colossal failure at 3. But what do I know? Sounds like the 4 names that are in are him, Martone, Frondell, and Misa if he falls. So we'll see.
Doesn't
But
sound
I
like
like that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they're discussing Hagens. Like I think they want to get another, I guess, bigger forward in there. But if you really believe in James Hagen's skills, man, take him. Like I think everyone's like almost like underrating him now or saying he's bad. He was still a point per game in college, and he could go back and win a Hobie Baker, compete for a Hobie Baker. So I would definitely not be like mad if the Blackhawks. I'd be happy. I would just be surprised. Oh, you're going another small forward, but hey, if you're getting another Frank Nazar, like a Logan Cooley type of player, I mean, shit, take that at 3. I love Logan Cooley, and I still think he's gonna be great. So, speaking of Logan Cooley, up next is the Utah Mammoth. Who are you picking at number 4?
I mean, they love Brady Martin. It'd be hard not to pick him. I mean, if I'm them, I'm probably going Porter Martone, but
Yeah, agreed.
I think Brady Martin's the pick here. I think there's too much smoke around it for it not to be. They're talking about moving pick 4. I think they're trying to move him to move down to get him. They have a lot of skill in that lineup right now. They need someone who plays another way. That's why they drafted Tej again the last year. People forget that. They're looking for players with bite in their game. And I think that's probably Brady Martin in that case. Like I've watched a bit of tape on him. He probably projects as like a really good second liner, if I had to guess. But at
Could
the
be
same
a Sam
time,
Bennett.
brings an edge, and that's what you need with a team that has like a Keller and a Cooley and a Schmaltz and these guys that are a little smaller and a little more skilled. You need some guys that have that edge, and you got the top end filled out already, honestly. So start filling out the secondary pieces. I'd go here. I wouldn't sleep on Denoye either. I think having Denoye as a 2C behind Cooley is very useful, or Schmaltz, because I think Schmaltz plays more wing anyway. But like you got to think they already have Keller, they have Schmaltz, they have Cooley, they have Gunther. They got a bunch of talent at forward. Like Michelli's an afterthought. Like I think that's someone the Hawks should look at in a trade. But that's it's Brady Martin at 4 though for me.
Brady Martin, all right. So for the Nashville Predators, they really need center help, as we mentioned earlier. I was thinking Porter Martone could almost be their next Philip Forsberg, but they just need so much help down the middle. I think they go James Hagens at number 5.
Yeah, they need a high-end guy in that system with like Matthew Wood and all the guys that they've drafted. Like Kamel, I don't think's developed at the way that they want to. Sveshkov's in the NHL, but doesn't have that ceiling. This would be their first prospect with a legit ceiling. Makes a lot of sense, but also Nashville is just one of those teams, man. They love being derivative with their picks. Look at Igor Shurin last year. Yeah, I like the pick. Don't be surprised. I'm size though.
I think like for my mind, I'm like I want to pick the best player available. What I think, and to me, that's James Hagens. I very much could see them go Caleb Denoye because it's probably more likely he's going to be a center, but I want to swing for upside, and I think they just have a lot of wingers that they wouldn't go a Porter Martone, but I mean they could go any of those guys. Like fuck, we don't. I think from 3 to 10, like you could mix any of those guys in there. And like I think I saw Corey Proman did a mock draft and Martone fell to Buffalo, I think at 9. I'm like, holy shit, if that happens for Buffalo. It's like he could go 3, he could go 9. I think any of these guys in the top, like after 2, between 3 and 10, they could go anywhere, and I wouldn't be too shocked. So, but yeah, I'm going Hagens at 5.
Well, I'm going to Denoye at 6. Screams Philly. Like Denoye to Philly or Boston just makes too much sense, and
yeah,
I think Philly's going to scoop him up here. They don't have a legit center prospect in the pool. What better way to get Sean Couturier 2.0 than have him learn from Sean Couturier? So, they're going to be a perfect fit for Denoye. You put a big center next to Mishkov down the line. You just hope he hits the ceiling, I guess. But I'm going with Denoye at 6.
Boston Bruins, I know they do need center help, but I'm not going to pass up a chance to take Porter Martone for them. Yeah, just be like, oh, learn from David Pastrnak. Not that David Pastrnak is like a power forward, but here's how you score 60 goals and get 110 points, kid.
Facts. And pick 8's interesting because I feel like Seattle wants to go D here, but the D
That's
is
what I was gonna say. Like, I think like we're going forward heavy right now. I think we're gonna
because the draft is
see.
forward heavy. There's like 5 defensemen
Mhm.
that are worth taking in this round.
But teams
Outside of
always, but teams are always like, oh, we need defensemen so badly. Like, let's draft that, even if they aren't like the most talented player available. But defense is a more hot commodity, especially if they're right-handed.
So it's a tie between 2 guys for me, I think.
Is it Murka? Played in
No,
Seattle.
I think it's
Oh,
Jackson Smith.
okay, okay.
Because he's got that upside. He'll go to Penn State, be able to develop properly. And then they love picking skill. They will go skill over anything. We've learned that with Seattle. I think Victor Eklund's on the board for them. Get some winger help.
That would be an amazing pick for them. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Jackson Smith just because I do think they go D, but I would love to see Victor Eklund on the wing of one of Wright, Catton, or Beniers come 2-3 years down the line.
Number 9, I got the Buffalo Sabres, and I usually like what Buffalo does at the draft. And I'm just gonna give them Victor Eklund at number 9. Like, whether they develop them or keep them, that's another matter. But I think they draft usually pretty well. It's just they cannot keep them. They trade them, and they go on to win Stanley Cups.
Yeah. And then pick 10 with Anaheim. Like, I was looking at Anaheim's thing when we were talking about him earlier.
You could go anyone.
I think Merkta makes a lot of sense, though. Like, you get a big right-handed shot that can fill in with all that left-handed talent you have. I think Merkta or Atchison, one of the defensemen.
I was going to say Atchison, just like an agitating defenseman to play
26 goals, too, as a defenseman.
Go learn from Radko Gudas, kid.
Yeah.
Or Jacob Trouba.
I just think 6'6" right-handed shot, that's hard to pass up on. And that he might go higher just because of that. Like, we've seen that time and time again. Big right-handed shot. Probably goes in the top 10, like you said. Might go to Seattle. But I think Anaheim takes him at 10. And because they have a lot of forwards. I don't think someone like a Carter Bear or a Roger McQueen puts him over the top. There's a couple spots I think McQueen ends up.
And here's where that gets. I think that's probably the biggest wild card is Roger McQueen, because there's just, I mean,
he makes it outside of 10. The Hawks need to trade back up for him. I'm so serious.
I totally agree. I mean, that's the risk you can take when you have all these draft picks, and that's a risk you should be taking.
Huge.
Like, because he could be Tage Thompson, or he might not be an NHLer. Like, he could be Caden Lindstrom, where he's barely in any game action next year with the injuries. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I saw that the Pittsburgh Penguins are very high on Roger McQueen. And, I mean, they need help everywhere. So why not start on taking a risk with Roger McQueen? Because they have the Rangers pick 12. I wonder what they're going to do there. I'm going to operate under the assumption that they're going to give the Penguins pick 12 and keep that for next year. So if they got 2 straight first-round picks, I'm definitely taking a shot at McQueen. So I'll pick them number 11. But as of right now, it's the Rangers at 12.
Yeah, if they could walk out with... So are you saying the Penguins take McQueen? Or
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I have the Rangers taking Atchison. Mm-hmm. I think if Keandre Miller's on the block, they really have a hole on that left side going forward. They drafted like EJ Emery, but he's a right-handed shot. So I think Atchison has the upside, potentially be with a guy like Fox and really maximize his game down the line. I think they'd run to the podium and take him at 12, which, by the way, shows the defensemen are going to start rattling off. I think we've had 3 in the last 4 picks. So this is this is just how the league works. Teams are going to start rattling off defensemen. We saw it last year with, guys like Dickinson and Boyum and whatnot, and Yakimchuk. Like, they all started rattling off like that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going Atchison, though.
It really seems like when a draft is, like, heavy on one thing, like this class is heavy on forward. Like, I feel we're gonna see like 3 defensemen picked in the top 10. Like, a team is maybe not top 5, but like I could definitely see like 6, 7, 8 a team going for like a Mertka or an Aitchison or a Smith or any defenseman that they like. And then last year it felt more defensive heavy, and then we saw teams like against Utah where I thought, oh, maybe they go a defenseman here, and same with Seattle. But no, both of them went they went. Utah went Iginla, and then Seattle went Catton. So you never quite know. Seems like a lot of teams zag when other teams like zig. So I don't know. That's it's a neat part of the draft. You never know what's going to happen. To me, right now, I'm like, this is where it kind of starts to drop off a little bit in talent. Like, not that there's not good players there, but this is kind of like the top end of the draft from. I'm not sure. Number 13. I should probably pull up who is picking right now. Detroit Red Wings. Oh, I have a perfect player for them. They love to seemingly draft guys who high compete level. I think they go Carter Bear.
It's a good pick. In Columbus is interesting because they always draft super well at 14. At least in terms of ceiling and in terms of guys who have skill. I'm tied between Carbonneau and Renshie right here. Just because it just depends on what type of player they want. If they want that little bit of bite to the game, Carbonneau's right there. I think it's the range where he goes in this draft. But at the same time, Renshie, I think, is more versatile in terms of just he could potentially be a two-way guy. He could be a high-skill forward. They love taking those guys. I think it just comes down to what they want. And maybe I'm going to go Carbonneau here just because I think the bite is going to be the difference maker. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone like Renshie at this point as well.
Dude, you know what? Completely fucking God, it's available. Jake O'Brien. Because he's gonna go higher than what we have right now.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Did we not pick Jake O'Brien?
No.
Oh,
I was like, because I'm already like I'm like just looking at a list. I'm trying to remember the name.
Jake O'Brien. All right, I'm gonna change up. Oh fuck.
I was gonna be like, if he got to 11, I would switch McQueen.
Jake O'Brien's going to the Rangers. Yeah. I'm changing my pick.
That's
and then I'm gonna have Atchison go to Columbus. Because if O'Brien's still there, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Oh yeah. I don't think he gets outside the top 10, but yeah. So Atchison to Columbus then. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I was like, I feel like we're missing one guy, and then I'm like, oh, Jacob. I looked at a list. I'm like, oh, Jacob.
Because we've already blocked him out of our memory because of the rumor maybe going third.
Yeah. So who is at number 15? So these are the last two picks. We're only just doing the top half. The Vancouver Canucks, again, they could use a little bit of everything, but I think they go for a guy who they're probably familiar with because he plays with Victoria, Cole Reshny.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I
and
probably
the Habs got back-to-back picks, but we're ending it at 16.
Yeah, that's where I think Carbonneau goes. Makes the most sense. Him or Kuntz here. They always seem to pick the right player in Montreal the last couple of years, so I'm gonna go that.
There you go. Yeah, I don't clearly like at least for me, I'm not familiar enough with this class to go a top 32 as evidence. Like I forgot Jake O'Brien didn't go, but who are some names for you for the Blackhawks at number 25 that intrigue you? Like, I would love for them to move up into the top 15, maybe even top 10 again, maybe get a Victor Eklund, but there's still going to be guys that are intriguing. I think the most, like, I see names like Malcolm Spence, and I'm like, okay, maybe not high upside, but maybe that's a guy you can put in your middle six. But if you want to swing for upside, I think you mentioned his name last podcast, and he's 6'6". I would love them to take a look at Vaclav Nestrasil, or however you say his name.
Yeah, Nestrasil's interesting because I think you could get him with 34.
Yeah, I was going to say that
shakes the right way, like him or Gastrin. I think it's the pick at 34. But I love Jack Murdaugh. I think he's so versatile, and he kind of fits that mold of what Davidson looks for. Plus, he's 6'1", so that helps a little bit. Malcolm Spence. I think if Davidson really wants to go with his guys, Colin Potter is going to be there.
I was just going to say that, like, where it feels like anytime outside the first round, it's just speed, and Colin Potter fits. Like, I would not surprise me at all if they drafted him.
Jack Nesbitt's big center. I think that would make sense. One that would be interesting. I floated this one around in my head a little bit. because they do have two really good right-handed defensemen. But if you just wanted to clear that whole side, go take Blake Fiddler, big 6'4", right shot
From the Oil
defenseman.
Kings. Whoa!
Like,
Let's go.
I think that 25 they can get really creative. I think. The guy I want's
Do whatever the
Murdoch.
fuck they
I think I've
want,
made that very clear. Obviously Nestrazel, if that's the play at the time, like we didn't think Renzel was going to be a first, and that ended up happening. Like, take him. Obviously, you
At
have pick
25,
44. You'll be able to get your
for
pick of
Toronto.
day two. Yeah, it's probably between those two, Murdoch and Nestrazel for me. But I wouldn't sleep on guys like Nesbitt. I wouldn't sleep on a guy like Fiddler. I wouldn't sleep on Colin Potter, and I wouldn't sleep on a guy like Bill Zonin.
Oh, if Colin Potter is available, especially with 34, they're drafting him. I think they would draft him.
If he's there at 34, he's not making it past the Hawks. If he's there, he's a 5'10" forward. So there's only so many teams I want to waste a first on that.
Yeah.
The Hawks have a lot of that. But if it gets to a certain point, you kind of have to take him. Like if it's a cancer off situation or something of that nature. If he starts falling in day 2, you trade back up and get him.
Oh, 34, pick him. No hesitation. Yeah.
Yeah, if your first 3 picks are Frondell and Nestrazel and Colin Potter, you're laughing. Or Gastrin. Like there's going to be options for a forward there. I just wouldn't put it past them if, a guy like Fiddler's still hanging around. Maybe take a flyer on a big right shot D-man that plays a different style than Levshinoff and Renzel. It'd be nice to have on the third pair, I think. But that's where I'm at with that right now. But Jack Murdoch, I think, just has so much versatility. He can play center. He can play wing, power play, penalty kill. He's going to BU next year. He might play with Michael Misa if he ends up going there, which would be sick.
No, Misa's going to be playing in Chicago. Let's go.
No, BU is going to be stacked, though. They have, Charlie Treadway's going to be there. Haxley Wang's going to be there, which is nuts. There's going to be it's going to be a Chinese defenseman going in round 2, by the way. 6'6".
Yeah, I did see
He's going to play for BU. It's going to be sick. BU is just going to be loaded, bro. Oh, man. And then, if we're talking later in the second round, I would like Owen Conrad. Just a big left-handed shot. Wouldn't mind that. Jordan Gavin's someone that I've been high on for 3 years. He hasn't had the best draft year, so he might be able to drop later on them to get. I think they're going to draft the other Doc brother, too, at some point. Don't know when, but I think that's very, very possible. And then if we're talking, late round steals, I love Lev Katzen. I think that's a Davidson guy day 3 or day 2. I say day 3 like the NFL draft, but there's a guy who's going to Penn State next year. He had 44 and 48. He's just a water bug, 5'8", super high skilled, and he's going to be playing with probably Martone and Baby McKenna next year. So I think that's a guy day 2, round 3 or 4 or 5 even. Just take a flyer on him. If you can't get Colin Potter, go get Lev Katzen, in my opinion.
I don't think they would draft him anyways, but I wonder where Ivan Ryabkin's going to drop to.
I've seen a lot of mock drafts. He ranges from 20 to 37. So that's another guy. If he's there at 34, you run and take him.
I think they should, but I know there's been questions about his work ethic and compete in the Blackhawks.
Hey, double down on Muskegon. Just take him in Nestrazel. There you go.
That's true.
It's funny, though. Nestrazel 6'6", 185. Ryabkin's 5'11", 209. He's a big kid. So it's going to be interesting to see where he shakes out, because I think if you put him in the right system with the right development, he's going to be a really good player. But you got to work on that work ethic. He could be another Alex Nylander for all we know. But this is a draft where you're going to see 10 different mock drafts, and I promise you, no one's going to know how this draft shakes out. It's going to be like 2022 all over again, where I don't think anyone had that order for the top 10, let alone the top 32. And I felt 2023 was a little bit like that too at some points. But
it was Bedard and then the rest. I thought Fantelli was going to go 2. And
last year Seneca went 3rd. This just happens. People fall in love with their guys. And if you like your guy, take him. I'm such a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Caleb Denoye.
Or Jake O'Brien. We blocked out.
Dude, I'd rather have O'Brien over Denoye. At least O'Brien's got healthy wrists. That scares me. I was already questionable with Denoye, but he has 2 injured wrists. Doc, how are you going to develop? Oh my God. We saw it with Doc. He shattered his wrist and completely cratered his development.
Ruined his career, I'd say.
Yes.
Also him being up way earlier. Yeah.
And Jared Tenorti blowing out his knee, but we're just not going to talk about that. Game 3 this season, Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's gonna be a draft where I promise you the top 10 is not gonna go anywhere the way we shaked out.
No.
Like, I would not surprise me if, like you said, Merck just squeaks into the top 10. Carter Bear is going to be sneaking around the top 10.
One of those defensemen is going to. There's going to be a 2 or 3 defensemen.
Logan Hensler is a big wild card because he didn't really have the best year this year, but he's also fucking 6'5" or 6'2" right shot defenseman. Like, people want that. Like, he's going to go somewhere. Joshua Ravensbergen is the goalie in this draft, 6'5". I think he's a right-handed glove goalie too, which is interesting.
Jonas Hiller?
But he's projected to go first round. So they have Nashville taking him here. LOL. Don't see that happening. But, looking at like later teams, I know Columbus has a good prospect, but at 20, I could see Columbus taking him. LA, I think is a possibility for taking a goalie. I think Washington's a possibility for taking a goalie. I'd argue Montreal. I know they have Fowler, but they have 2 first-round picks. Like, it's very possible.
The Florida Panthers had Spencer Knight and Devin Levi, and look what the players they turned them into. You can use them as trade chips.
Carolina would be interesting. You'll get an elite goalie, but Ravensburg.
Indiana makes no saying not to draft a goalie in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a couple goalies in this draft. I'm curious to see where they shake out. I don't think the Hawks need a goalie. No. God, they really don't. But
I mean, shit, if he falls to 34, though, well, why not? I mean, again, they can do whatever they want, especially after pick 3.
Like, I just think you can get a goalie in round 3, 4, or 5. Like, Frolov's going to be there. They got Henry or Herbeck or however you say his name. Like, there's going to be good goalies from Europe that they can go take a flyer on. I'm a firm believer. They're like quarterbacks in the NFL. You should take one every draft. Take one every draft late. You never know. It's a fucking goalie, dude. Like, Devin Levi was a 7th round pick. Like, you just don't know what these guys. Take a flyer. That's my 2 cents, though.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like, just looking at the Blackhawks right now, yeah, you got Spencer Knight. They signed Arvid Soderblom out of Sweden, and you signed Lauren Brossoit free agency last year, and Drew Comesso was a 2nd-round pick in 2020. Like, he could be a backup next year, and then you still have Adam Guyan, who you never know. Like, yeah.
Facts.
Never have enough of anything. Like, yeah, if they want to draft another right-handed defenseman, why the hell not? You could use that in a trade. Like, as much as you're drafting them to project them to be on your team, you also have to view them as assets as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can't start all your prospects. I'm such a firm believer in that.
No. As nice as it
just
would
won
be,
the fucking cup.
Yeah. I think the Panthers only had, like, 4 homegrown talents. Like, the funny thing is Dmitry Kulikov wasn't originally a Florida Panther, but he's gone to other teams. Like, I think it's just Barkov, Ekblad, Lundell, and Samskevich, but he didn't play the entire playoffs, so he might have played a couple games, but
played like 3 games.
Yeah. Oh, he should get his name on the cup.
He's definitely getting his name on the cup. He played 70 regular season games.
I guess so. I always forget like the qualifications, but yeah, he'll get that and a cup ring. So yeah, we'll go over the top 16 on what we had. So first overall to the Islanders, Schaefer. Second overall to the Sharks, Misa. Third overall to the Hawks, Frundell. Fourth overall to Utah, Brady Martin. Fifth overall to Nashville, James Haggins. Sixth overall to the Flyers, Caleb Denoyer. Number 7 to the Boston Bruins, Parker Martone. Number 8 to the Seattle Kraken, Jackson Smith. Number 9 to the Buffalo Sabres, Victor Eklund. Number 10 to the Anaheim Ducks, Reddy Murka. Number 11 to the Pittsburgh Penguins, Roger McQueen. Number 12 to the New York Rangers, Jake O'Brien. Number 13 to the Detroit Red Wings, Carter Bear. Number 14, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Keegan Atchison. Number 15, why am I blanking out on who the team is? Well, number 15 is
Just
Cole
the Canucks.
Reshny. The Canucks, yes. And then number 16 is Justin Carbonneau staying in Quebec. Going to the Montreal Canadiens. How many picks do you think we will get right? Maybe 2.
Nah, I'm gonna go 5. I think we get 5 right.
Because I think it's gonna be Schaefer, Misa, and
Frondell.
if Misa falls into their laps, like I don't give a fuck what else they do this offseason. Like you will never bring me down if they get Michael Misa. I do think the Hawks go Frondell. I do think that's the top 3, and I hope I'm not setting myself up for disappointment if they go Denoyer, but I think that's the top 3. I do think Utah does go Brady Martin, that's 4, but then after that, I don't know.
Crapshoot. I do think we're gonna get one of Denoyer or Martone's destinations right, and I think Brady Martin is the guy for Utah. So we'll see. But I mean, after pick 3, it's such a crap. After pick 2, it's such a crapshoot. Like you're right, it might be 2 at the end of the day, but I think we got 5 in there.
If we get 5, I think that's good. Bang! Bang! Yes, sir. If we get a third of the top half of the draft, we're going with Greece. Let's go. Pro Scouts.
Facts.
So yeah, that was our mock draft for 2016. Again, didn't do the whole 32 because 1, that would take too long, and 2, quite frankly, I personally don't know much. Like
Pierce doesn't have his 3-round scouting chart like he did a few years back.
No, bro, I fucking do not have the time for that. I miss that so much. Like
I did too.
2021, 2022. For 2020, that's all I did because it was COVID. I was like, I worked and then go home. It's like, oh, go watch some prospects. And
time to watch some Dawson Mercer tape.
Hell yeah.